Okay, we are live.
Hey everybody, hope you can see me. We're going to have to adjust the camera a little bit. It's kind of warm in here, and first of all, we're in the snake room. I'm Matt from Epic Loot Exotics. Arden's over there behind the camera and controlling stuff and getting ready for chat. We are cutting clutch number 3 for 2023 because they started pipping out today, and so I figure like most of the rest of those, yeah, you can kill off the eraser synapse thing. Like most of the rest of these, we're going to show you the parents first, and fortunately for us, it's fairly quick and easy. So right here in this tub is Huey.
Glasses.
Move this down here. Come here, buddy. Huey is a leopard that is possibly het piebald. Huey's been on a hunger strike for a while. If he looks a little thin, we're getting ready to change up his dieting offerings a bit. But leopard, you can see, not only darkens the back, but changes the patterning just a bit. Really cool possibilities with leopard. Hey, buddy, why don't you just stay right in there, and we'll... Nope.
You want me to hold on to him while you do
Yeah,
that?
you hang on to that. I'll put the tub back, and then we'll put it back.
You can really
There he
see some of
goes.
the contrast in the pattern. Oh, there we go, and now he's ready. Nope. There you go, buddy. We'll crawl right back in.
We're going to redo his tub later. And he was paired, so he's leopard, possible het pied. He was paired with Mocha, who is a Mojave Calico, possible het pied.
Oh, she's going into shed right now, so she's going to be a little dull compared to how she normally looks. You can see she's got and she's going to be a little jumpier. See, she's got a lot of lightning stuff coming up the sides, and then really close to the bottom, you can see some white speckling that's coming up the side. That's going to be the Calico. The overall light color on the sides, that's coming from the Mojave. But again, unfortunately, you can't really see the full beauty of it right now with her being in shed. Also, the shape of these alien heads, the way they're sort of like an 8-ball complex snake, where you've got these like loops that are kind of getting stretched out along the sides. That's also an effect of the Mojave gene.
Yeah, so Mojave Calico, in this case, she looks a little bit... I like the fact that you referenced the 8-ball complex, because she looks a little pewter almost. Mm. And for reference, here, you can put her up, and I have a pewter right here. Bam Bam is a pastel cinnamon, and so you can kind of see the coloration and pattern changes from that. So this is not one of the parents, but Mocha reminds me a little bit. Her particular Mojave Calico presentation is very close to Bam Bam here's pewter, or pastel cinnamon. So we have, let me get the eggies right here. We can aim this down now.
Yep.
One of them has already stuck its head out. And we're going to be cutting right here. Yeah, good.
Seems a little out of focus. Let me...
Also, I think the light at the back of the room should be moved up much closer. Just to get us a bit more light right on the snacks. Okay.
There we go. Okay,
We'll start with this one here that has poked its head out.
So on a first glance, it's got a pretty dark head. I'm wondering if this could be a leopard, but we haven't seen any of the patterns, so we really don't know so far. It is awfully cute, though. Well, actually, let me get a picture of that before you cut it, because there's nothing better to me than a head poking out egg. Cute. Oh my god.
I have 2 different pairs of glasses, one for working on my phone and one for working on the computer. So I have to wear one to be able to see the babies, and then a different one to be able to see the computer. All right, let's...
It'd be nice.
We're going to give you just a little bit of help here. And we get right behind here. There we go. Tucked right back in.
Let's see.
That does not look leopard or Mojave. This might just be a normal or a calico.
I know calico, when they're fresh out of the egg too, sometimes it can look almost more like a pink blushing up the side, which does kind of look like that's what's going on here.
Yep.
But my understanding is that calico takes a shed or two for you to really see its full presentation. So hopefully, possible calico.
Possible calico. By the way, what we're looking for here is a piebald ball python. Because since both of these are possibly het pied, if we get anything that is piebald, we will have proven both of them. And so that's, you will probably hear quite a bit of excitement if we cut one of these open and see it pied. Right now that looks normal, possibly calico. Definitely don't see leopard. Definitely don't see Mojave. So next we're going to do this big egg.
Yeah, for some reason this one egg is really long. It's not even like it's big in mass, it's just long.
I need to put my glasses on to make sure I can do this. By the way, if you see any blood, it's not because we have cut a snake at all. It's because on the inside of the egg there are veins
which let the snake soak up the yolk.
That is a piebald.
Really?
I'm 95% sure. It's hard to
Oh.
tell because of the light right here is not great, but we're going to cut this just a bit more so I can see. I think what we have here is a leopard pied, but you are the pied judging expert.
It's hard to see leopard, but that is definitely a piebald.
It's gorgeous. It looks
So-
almost inchy pied.
The difficult thing with pied is that normally, a normal pied, a pied with no other genes, is already going to look a lot more orange than a normal ball python. The leopard kind of accentuates that. So it's pretty hard to see in this context whether or not it's a leopard or not. But that is absolutely a pied, which means on the second egg, we've already proved out. So, yay!
Yeah, look at that, how gorgeous that is. I know the camera blocks the light just a little bit. I cannot tell you how absolutely freaking excited we are right now. This is the first pied. It proves out 2 snakes to both be het pied, and I believe that there's a good chance that it's, I don't know calico pied, but I would say that's leopard pied.
I think it's a good chance it's leopard pied. I'm almost certain it's not Mojave or calico. Mojave tends to wash out most of the striping. You don't really see that on the saddles of a Mojave pied. And I need to see more of the body to determine calico.
By the way, we're going to leave them here. We're going to put them back in the incubator. They will stay there for another week until they have, well, they'll stay there. They'll all climb out of the eggs. And then over the next week or so, they'll get to where they've shed. And then they'll join our other hatchlings. So, all right.
How many snakes are laid at once? I would say probably 4 to 6 is an average. A ball python can lay anywhere from 1 egg to like 12 to 15 eggs. It's really dependent on the size of the snake, how old the snake is, how healthy it is, how much it was feeding while it was ovulating. There's a lot of factors that go into it.
All right. First egg that we had to cut open, and we got a pied. Second egg is not a pied,
Ooh.
but appears to be a Mojave.
Yep, I think that's a Mojave.
All right, let's pull this up. It may also be calico. It's very hard to tell. We'll do a better job of evaluating these snakes once they get out of the egg.
Yeah, that definitely looks like a Mojave. I don't know that it's calico, but I'm almost certain that's a Mojave.
I'm not really sure if I see leopard at all or not, but that's definitely Mojave. So far we've hit what appears to be a normal possible calico, a Mojave possible leopard, maybe calico, and a pied. And then we'll move on to egg number 3. There's 6 eggs in this clutch, or egg number 4, sorry.
Dan O'Merrill says piebalds will always be some of the coolest balls. I agree. Piebalds are amazing. They're kind of old school now and not as cool with all the hip new morphs, but I'd say they're still pretty sick.
All right, here we go. Egg number 4. Looks like another pied.
Really? Oh my god.
It's very hard to tell. Look at that head, but I see a lot of white.
Yep, so can I look at this? So high whites is really common with Mojave. Also, I'm noticing it looks like the head here is very blushed out.
And silvery, which
is also very common with Mojave pieds. So I'm going to say this one's probably a Mojave pied. There could also be Calico in there. It's hard to see. Also, I'm not getting a lot of Oh, there we go. Now it's reacting.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. We've already beaten the odds. With 2 hets, it's a 1 in 4 chance that you're going to get a visual recessive. And in 4 snakes, we have 2 pieds. So we've already beaten the expected odds.
Yep.
On a return for this, which is super exciting.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled. Mocha, the Mojave Calico het pied girl that was the mom of this, and Huey were 2 of the first breeder-ready snakes that we bought that had never actually been bred. And so, here we go. And this is not a pied, but is definite. Well, I'm not going to say definitely. I think it's a Mojave. It's really hard to tell. I'm going to get we really need like
a light that's like directly down.
A light from here.
There are camera setups that are designed for that. Maybe we should invest in something like that eventually.
I think that looks like a Mojave, possible Calico to me.
Yeah, definitely Mojave. I would say for sure Mojave. It looks like, so there's some of that pink blushing, which I think is usually Calico, but it's hard to say while it's in the egg. I would say Mojave, possible Calico. Possible Leopard too, but...
All right. Final one.
Yeah.
Final egg. She laid 6 eggs, no slugs. All of them so far appear to be absolutely fine and healthy. We're cutting them to help them out. We know that it's safe to cut them now because one of them managed to get out on its own, or start to get out on its own.
Come on, let's see 3 pieds.
This is not a pied.
Oh, okay.
This is...
Can't win them all.
Almost looks normal. Ooh, this one has some blushing that I think might more clearly be Calico.
Can't really see the sides.
But I don't see Leopard. I'm shocked that we didn't get a single Leopard baby. This one could be, but...
There's a few of them that look possible Leopard to me. It's really hard to see when they're in this state. I can't see the side of it enough, and I don't really want to maneuver it too much to... So when we do this, you really don't want to maneuver the snake or pull the snake out or anything like that. The goal is to make it so the snake can escape when it wants to on its own, but give it time to still soak up all that yolk and make sure it's really ready. So, unfortunately, if you can't see, that's just how it is for this time being. And it looks like it's pretty difficult to tell if there's anything else going on in there. Could be normal, could be leopard. I don't think we can really conclusively say on anything with that last egg.
This is actually one of the few clutches in our list that is likely to produce just straight up normals. The rest of our pairings, getting a normal is kind of low odds considering the number of genes that are in there and things like that.
1 in 16 or 1 in 32 for a lot of those pairings.
Or in the case of the dreamsicles, we're breeding a visual dreamsicle to an orange dream pied that's het lavender. So everything's definitely going to be pied, and then possibly some lavender. So right now, there are 2 pieds. They look a little different to me.
Yeah.
And this first one I cut that was in the big egg looks gorgeous. I can't wait for them to
I think this
come
one's definitely pied or leopard pied. I don't think there's Calico or Mojave in there at a first glance. This one I'm almost certain is at least Mojave pied. there are some ways to tell what the other genes in there are, but really until the snake is out of the egg, there's not much we can do. So we'll obviously, what we've been doing is after the snakes come out, we'll do like an update video where we show you guys all the snakes out of the egg, and then we'll be able to give you a more solid answer on whether or not they are Leopard or Mojave.
We can do an update video kind of right now on the last ones because I haven't.
Sure.
They haven't all eaten yet, and I haven't entered them into the system yet. But here are the. Well, we don't need to do the bananas. We've already done an update on those. What we'll do is we'll do an update and on what we think are.
I don't want to be in front of the light.
Yeah, this clutch of 7. And that's good because we'll put water back in here as we put each of them up. Yeah, so this, we haven't sexed this one. This one also hasn't eaten yet, but it has shed out. This is from a different pairing, obviously. This pairing was from the pastel lemonback gravel female we bought. And she came to us pregnant, and she had been paired with, we know now which one is the sire, a pastel inchy gravel. And so that blushing suggests that there might be gravel. The dot on the head suggests it might be lemonback. I think this is just a lemonback.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. This is the most normal presenting one. And some of the genes in this mix are not very expressive.
Yeah. This may just be a normal.
Yeah. Although there is some intense blushing. It could be like a gravel. It's really hard to say.
But whether it's normal or not, it's in good shape, good health.
Expert opinions.
I will, go ahead and make it like half full. Oh. No, you're trying to escape and you can't have that.
Okay.
So far, none of them have been particularly bitey and haven't taken a snap at me yet. Although they hissed at Arden once.
That one we just saw did bluff strike at me, but they're so tiny, I'm not really afraid. They could bite me, and I'm not too worried about it.
Now this one has some peach pink coloration up the side here. I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that I don't know for sure what this is. If I had to guess right now, I would say this is a pastel. Just because the head is lighter, there's blushing on the back, some flaming up the side. I don't know if it's gravel or not, and I don't know that this one's worth actually shed testing. I think it's just a pastel. But
again, we're going to consult a few people on getting some more professional opinions on exactly what these are before we make any listings or anything.
Yeah, none of these are going to be listed for a month or two. We'll get them fed up. We'll watch them through a few sheds. This one, so obviously the instant you see it, you can tell this is an inchy, but there's some great flaming on the sides right here. And the head is lighter. I think this is a pastel inchy. I don't know if it has gravel or not. But
well, I don't think it would have gravel because maybe it's different with gravel and yellow belly, but I know with Enchi and yellow belly, the belly is completely white, which we have an Enchi yellow belly, which it shows that very clearly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of marking on the belly, so I would... Oh, careful, water.
Oh, yeah. So I'm pretty sure that's a pastel Enchi. This one, I think, is definitely at least a pastel inchy, but I think this is the pastel inchy gravel.
And look at how clear that belly is.
The belly is clear.
No markings.
There's incredible flaming on the side. This could actually be pastel lemonback inchy gravel, but I'm not sure about that. I think this is just, it's definitely pastel inchy gravel, possibly lemonback. But really pretty. I love the blushing on the head. This flaming on the side is just really pretty. The belly pretty much guarantees that it's gravel, and gravel is the only thing that's in the mix. All right, and there's 3 more from this clutch.
We're using mason jar lids as their water bowls currently. It's the only thing that fits their size.
This one looks almost identical to the last one, except it has highlights on the back as well. Like, I'm tempted here. Let me get the other one and hold them side by side, and you can see. So this one I'm saying is pastel, inchy, gravel, and there's a little bit, well, there is a little blushing on the top, but this one seems to have a little bit more. They're very, very similar. These two may be the same snake. They may both be pastel, inchy, gravel, lemonback. Look how white that is. That almost has to be lemonback.
Yeah, I think this one might be lemonback and this one might not, just because there's so much more blushing on the top, but it's...
But also there's there.
There is some. I just think it's a lot more significant on this one.
But the heads are almost the same.
The belly is completely clear on this one too, which, so you can definitely tell there's yellow belly along with the inchy on this one.
Yeah.
Oh, that one needs water.
Doo-doo-doo.
Get it yet. I also have to be really careful or else it spills everywhere. You don't want to give them too much at a time or else they will spill it themselves everywhere.
So the last 2 snakes from this clutch are the awesome ones.
Yeah, the superstars.
This first one is a super pastel gravel lemonback. I don't think there's inchy here.
Very clearly super pastel though.
But look at that head. That's how we can tell the difference between pastel and super pastel.
It's almost entirely white.
And now you add in, oh, we got a little bit of stuck shed right there. You're adding in lemonback here and gravel. You can look at the belly. The belly here is clear. Oh, still a little stuck shed here.
Yeah, there's some stuck shed mostly because this is a pretty sterile environment, which we try to do until they get more established as snakes, and then they'll move on to proper substrate and they'll have enrichment in the enclosure, so that way when they're going out, they are...
Yeah, until this first shed is done, this is basically just us doing everything we can to fully monitor. But that is a super pastel gravel lemonback. And wait till I show you the next one, because we got really lucky and hit the absolute all gene on this next one. So that's a great looking snake. That is a beautiful super pastel gravel is great. Adding the lemonback in there is great. But when you add another copy of gravel and you add inchy, you have this, which is a super pastel, super gravel, inchy lemonback. And you can just see, I mean, the sides on this, the lemony coloration from there, the super pastel, basically clearing out the entirety of the head. Super gravel, the flames come up crazily. The belly is perfect and pristine.
There's almost some like pink lavender undertones too in the open areas.
Yeah, I mean, this is easily the best looking snake we produced, and the thing is, we weren't responsible for the breeding and we don't have the male, but what it does is it makes me want to go get a similar snake to put with her. But next year she's being paired with Al, who is a super vanilla orange dream lemonback, and so from that we will get super vanilla orange dream yellow belly.
Yeah.
So we will get yellow belly and gravel, which is highways, and then we can also get orange dream highways, vanilla highways. Everything will be vanilla, and everything will be... Oh no, everything won't be pastel because she's not super pastel.
Right, and vanilla and lemonback are sort of similar. There's slight differences. They're both in the same complex, so they have similar effects. But we'll get the addition of OD in that. It might be a little too close to focus. Hold on, let me... I can focus it manually because I've got this thing here. Hold on, let's bring this. Might need to pull it back like another inch or two there. There you go, perfect.
Look at that.
You can really see those colors.
Really beautiful girl. That belly is perfectly clear. This is a super pastel, super gravel, inchy lemonback. And so people are like, how do you identify these? It's great that we have this clutch of 7. Because one of the ways that you go about identifying them is by comparing them to the other things that hatch out. When you know what the parents are, you know what all the possible combinations are. And for example, the clutch that we just cut, it's Mojave Calico het pied to a Leopard het pied. And we get to mark them both as het pied now because we got 2 Piebalds. You don't leave me hanging. We got 2 Piebalds at that clutch. She was on her phone. But you can only get Mojave, Leopard, and Calico and combinations of those. And so when you look at 2 snakes side by side, if you know what the Mojave coloration and indicators are, you can tell which ones are Mojave. So similarly, what we're going to do for the 7 we just showed you that came from that Super Pastel clutch is once they're all done shedding out, we're going to put them together in one box for pictures. And we're going to make a little chart, kind of like a Punnett square, but not quite, where the numbers 1 through 7, it'll be like, do we see inchy? Yes, we see it in numbers 3, 4, and 7, which I think it's 4, 5, and 7 that we see inchy in. And then which ones do we see pastel in? And which ones do we see super pastel? And that, by going through and looking at it, saying, I can't tell if this is pastel or super pastel. This one you can. You saw how white the heads were.
We've got Eric, our friend Eric in the chat, Nylon Eric. He asked if those are RFID cards on the bins, or RFID, whatever. No.
No.
Those are just stickers. But he also asked what inventory platform did you end up using. We use something called Husbandry Pro, which basically does all of the things that we were planning on doing ourselves when we found it. There's some issues. I mean, it's not perfect, obviously, because if it were perfect for us, we would have made it. But no, it does pretty good. I mean, it covers eating and shedding, and it has like a genetics calculator. It keeps track of incubation time, and it does pretty much everything you could really ask for our purposes. It's
outstanding, and we may end up, well, we're not sure if we're going to end up using it for rats and mice at all. It would require us to pay more and get a license that's too big because there's just too many rodents that we're breeding. But yeah, Husbandry Pro, you can access it as a website. And also, I keep this old Chromebook of mine, which I haven't opened in a couple weeks. So we'll see what it pops up. But yeah, that's what Husbandry Pro looks like. I have to give this a second for it to catch up with the internet, but boom, boom, boom. So if I were to go to our animal list right here, you can see once it refreshes, all of our animals are stored in there, and we can say Mocha, who was, I've got them sorted in a different order here. Now we got it in there. So Mocha was the 10th, well, actually not the 10th breeder ready, but the 10th snake we bought. And I can see all of her activities. I can see that she, on July 31st, ate a live rat. Actually, no, that says live rat, but it was fresh killed. So I have to change hers.
Eric also said, I got excited to scan the card for feeding. So we haven't taken advantage of it at all, but through Husbandry Pro, they do allow a QR code system where, for example, if we had, they'll produce them for clutches as well. So like we could have scanned the QR code for this clutch, and it would have automatically on Husbandry Pro pulled up the genes of both the parents and the possible genes that any of the babies could have gotten. How long they've been in the incubation. Some people will print them out for individual animals at shows. So if customers have Husbandry Pro as well, and they buy the snake, they can just scan the card and it'll tell them all the data about that snake. When it's been eating, when it's refused, when it's shed, anything that you've kept track of, it will show them.
We're not currently using those features yet. We're kind of easing into stuff. This, by the way, is a display of what's actually in the incubator. And so you can see this one is the 7 eggs where I just showed you they've hatched. We just need to convert them to be 7 snakes and not 7 eggs, and we're waiting for them to shed out so that we can identify the morphs. This is the one that we just cut, and well, when they've shed out, we'll just click this button. There's an option here, transfer info to parents, and there's another button which is convert to animals. So if I transfer this info to parents, it's going to say Mocha laid 6 eggs, 6 viable, none were non-viable, and boom, Mocha and Huey, and we can show they had a successful clutch. And then what I want to do is, this I wish was clickable right here where the snake name is. So we're going to go back into animals. We're going to go to the animal list. I know you guys won't be able to read this, and I'm doing it kind of off angle with my glasses. But we're going to load up Mocha in a new tab, and we're going to do Tubby right here. Now, what I want to do is right now, why did I pick Tubby? I should supposed to pick Huey. Dumbass.
I think Huey and Tubby have also made babies, which is probably part of the inspiration for that.
Yeah. Huey, who was the second snake that we put in here. All right, here we go. So on Huey's thing, it lists Leopard and Het Piebald. I don't have to edit this just because, for whatever reason, we listed it as Het Pied and not possible Het Pied. Some of them might say possible Het Pied, but now we know he's absolutely Leopard Het Pied. I have everything about him, right down to, I think I paid like $200 for it, $150 for a breeder male that was Leopard Het Pied, and we beat the odds. I don't know that we'll bother. I don't think Huey's going to breed to anybody next year. I think probably Huey will end up being for sale. That's the reward you get for producing us your replacements. But similarly on Mocha, she says Mojave, Calico, Het Pied, and to be fair, we bought her. We know exactly who we bought her from because this is the picture, and you'll know who it's from immediately.
Yeah, I don't even have to look.
Yeah.
We bought her from Don Shores, from whom we've bought lots of our snakes.
I've probably got 5 or 6 snakes in here from Don.
Yeah, we've got he's a great breeder. He produces amazing animals, and we see him at almost every single show we go to. He knows us pretty well now, to the point where
I almost bought another snake from him 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say, to the point where we can make jokes like, well, that snake's way overpriced, and he doesn't take it too personally. He knows it's a joke.
He had a clown female that I want, but did not have the money for, and he had it listed as $1,000. It's a proven breeder ready female, and it wasn't just clown. It was
clown something else, but he was like, it's priced pretty good, and you were like, could be better.
Yeah.
And he just laughed and rolled his eyes and walked away.
But he's great. This here, he had her marked as Mojave Calico, 100% Het Pied. So I didn't put her in as possible Het Pied, I just put her in as Het Pied, and now we know for sure. Both of those snakes are absolutely Het for Piebald. What we haven't been able to demonstrate yet is the Calico, but she's not just Mojave. So
yeah, I think we could see the Calico more with, again, a lot of Calico presentation comes from the lowest parts of the sides of the snake and the belly, which in the egg it's really hard to see that because you're not seeing that part of the snake most of the time. So we'll see that more as the snakes come out, and we'll obviously again do another update stream where we show you guys what they look like out of the egg.
Oh, I should do this real quick while I have this here. We'll end the stream like this because so we have a ton of work that we have to go do. We were not planning to do this today. We were planning to do this tomorrow because tomorrow is the day that they were supposed to pip out, even though they've pretty much consistently been doing it on Mondays. It's like the snakes figured out when it's least convenient for us.
It is. I think almost every clutch is pipped on a Monday so far.
So if we go to what's in the incubator, and this is why I was pulling this up before, I'll show you. These hatched today, and actually these were due today, so I was wrong. I listed the due date as the 15th, but Husbandry Pro had the due date as today and marked them as hatched. In 4 days, we have a clutch of 5 eggs that are from a blackhead lavender albino male to a GHI Mojave fire female. So we'll get blackhead GHI Mojave fires that are all het for lavender albino. We won't be able to see the lavender albino, but we'll be able to see the other genes, and we will know that everything's het lav. And so those may go into future breeding projects, but at least we'll have confirmation of het lav for that. Those are supposed to be hatching on the 18th, so in 4 days. And we have a set of 12 that are going to hatch on the 21st. And that's from a pastel inchy butter female to an orange dream inchy possible yellow belly. So you'll get pastel, orange dream, butter, super inchy, yellow belly maybe, but we have 12 eggs, and so there'll be a lot there to compare.
Going to be some very yellow, bright snakes is what we're going to be getting from that.
And between those two, on the 19th, there are 18 corn snake eggs that are supposed to hatch, and they will all be normal, so there won't be anything fancy about it. We'll probably just post some pictures and, hey, we got corn snakes. But yeah, we got a bunch of cleaning up around here to do, and we are going to be heading out to visit family, and I've got to let the people who are watching our place while we're gone know what to do with eggs if they start sticking their noses out. They don't.
Right.
They don't have to do this. We're not going to set them up. Johnny ain't got a live stream. All right. Any other last minute questions before we wrap this all up?
Let's see. I went away from the stream. How many hours do you think you spend a week taking care of the animals? A lot. I've not quantified it, but a couple a day probably. I mean,
yeah, it's hard to say. Monday's the busiest day, and it's, I would say, 3 solid hours of, maybe 4 solid hours of taking care of all the rodents.
yeah, we're cleaning enclosures, giving them food, giving them fresh water. That's a lot of time.
That tends to be Mondays. On Sundays and sometimes Wednesdays, we do feedings.
Which can take an hour or more.
Yeah, and even more than that in prep, because you're monitoring and going back. Right now, and plus we just, like, there's a snake down here that would absolutely, like, we should do a show that is Arden gets eaten alive by a Woma. Because I've already been eaten alive by her. She's just bitey as hell. She bit herself yesterday or day before yesterday when I was trying to work with her a bit. But we try to handle them. We interact with them regularly. And so it's not just feeding. You have to go through and spot clean. Like when we get back from visiting folks, the next thing to do is to clean all of these enclosures and replace substrate and sort them. Because what we have is, you can see this rack here is a Freedom Breeder 40 rack, but right next to it we now have an ARS 5540 hybrid that we got at a really good price. So there's room for 40 more snakes, but there's already 8, 9,
there's already
10.
9 colubrids and 1 ball python.
But what we want to do is sort them more by breeding groups. So you'd have a male and all of the females that you're going to breed them to. We can't do that entirely because some of them are too big for these. Like we have 9 females in a sea serpent rack that has the VE70 tubs in it. But
Yep. So we do lots of work. I mean, not only do we have to do all those things you mentioned, but we have to come through at least once a week and spot clean. We come through at least once a week and like swap out the water. Although we kind of do that multiple times throughout the week, just as needed.
yeah.
We spend a lot of time in here every day. We're checking on eggs every day. We also have geckos that we're checking on every day. I mean,
So
it's hard to quantify.
There are 40. No, there's 2 tubs in here that are empty. So there's 38 ball pythons in this rack.
1 over here.
There's 1 in that rack. There are 9 in that rack.
Yep.
There are 8. Well, there's 5 house snakes right now.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 house snakes, 4 hognose snakes.
Yep.
There are 12 hatchling ball pythons over in our hatchling rack, which holds up to 39, but we're going to have more than 39.
Yeah, and then we've got our 6 that we just cut for you guys today. You know, assuming that they all crawl out of the egg and make it fine. It's not out of the realm of possibility that snakes don't make it out of the egg. That happens sometimes. It hasn't happened to us yet, but I think it would be unrealistic to expect it couldn't happen, you know, in the first year or something.
But in addition to the ones that I just listed in this room, there are 6 crested geckos in enclosures in the other room, and an ornate Euromastix, 3 bearded dragons, 4 corn snakes in their own enclosures downstairs.
Yeah.
And a fish, a couple of fish, but...
Right, yeah, I forgot about the lizards. Like, we're also feeding insects to them and making salads for them and trying to interact with them. So, a lot of our week.
It's a great question, like how much time is spent on this. And I think the thing I'm happiest about is that we don't have an answer, because it doesn't... the rat thing feels like work just because it's 105 degrees every day.
Yeah, if it wasn't so hot, I wouldn't mind doing the cage cleanings nearly as much.
Yeah. This is what we do because we love it, and yes, we will sell some snake babies to people and make some money.
It's pretty much whatever hours are left in the day when we're not doing our stuff for the line or your personal videos or my personal work. It's probably we're doing stuff here. I mean, obviously, we're both people who like to relax. We do indulge in that when we can, most days, but all of our leftover time gets spent here. Are there any more snakes on hunger strike? Yeah, Huey, actually, the father of this clutch, has been on a hunger strike he's the only one that's really left on a hunger strike, actually.
7 months?
Yeah, he's...
Everybody else who'd been... It's why he's got this red tag.
Yeah.
And that causes us... Once they get a red tag... and there used to be several red tags here, but we found that there were some that only ate mice, and some that only ate frozen thawed mice, and some that only ate live mice.
Yeah, one of them came off the hunger strike, but then we tried to move everyone else onto frozen thawed mice, thinking that'll get them more used to animals that aren't moving, but a few of them have made it very clear they are only interested in live mice. So that happens with ball pythons sometimes. They just have very specific preferences.
Right now, he's the only red tag one, and all that means is that we... so normally we try to feed almost everybody every week to 10 days, but we don't... Like, if they don't take fairly quickly, for some of them we know to leave a drop in there for them. For others, it's just, hey, you know, obviously they're not going to eat this week. Most of our moms have delivered and gone back on food within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Miranda's been a little pickier. She ate once and then did not eat again for the 2 weeks after that, but...
Yeah, almost every other female that's laid, though, has, like, Mocha's back to eating like a champ. Ovaltine's doing good. No surprise, Ariana was the biggest eater beforehand. The week after she laid, she was, like, ready for it immediately again.
When she was building follicles, there was a week where she took 4 rats. It was just like, yes, I'll have another. Yes, I'll have another. Yes, I'll have another. And she used that to build up those eggs. So, and she is a pewter pied, which means she's pastel cinnamon piebald. And we bred her to... Was it Ray or was it?
Yeah, I think
Biden?
it was Ray. No, it was Ray.
It was Ray.
Pied.
So Ray is our banana, who is het pied and het lavender. So he's basically het dreamsicle. And so what we'll get out of there is half the babies will be piebald. A quarter of them will be het lav. Half of them will be banana. Half will be pastel, half will be cinnamon. That's just the odds. I mean, we could get 5 banana pieds.
Right.
Or we could get no banana pieds.
I mean, it's even a mistake when we're talking about, like, oh, we beat the odds because we got 2 pieds and 4. It doesn't really make sense because that's not how odds work. But, you know, you're rolling the same odds on every egg.
Yep.
Yeah, so I see. WJ says, I always wanted to breed snakes with a full-time job. I don't think I'd be able to keep up. I think you could have a small breeding if you had like a boy and 2 or 3 girls, you could pretty easily have a full-time job and breed. Really, ball pythons don't require a lot of interaction. I think it's good, especially when they're young, to keep their minds, developing healthily, to interact with them a lot. But as far as adults go, really, if you're just like once a week rotating the male into the enclosure of the female for like a day or two to give them a chance to lock up, you could easily have a very small breeding project that requires very, very little of you.
Yeah, the ball python. So right now the reptile market is in a bit of a decline. Nothing. I'm not worried about it because it allows us. We got a great rack. We got 2 great racks, but we got a great rack for a great price. We got a bunch of breeder-ready snakes. We went from having, I've kept snakes forever, but I didn't have any a year and a half ago, and now we've got 70 plus. You could get into ball pythons and get breeder-ready ones right now to start a project, and it would probably be fine. And I would do like a 1 male, 3 or 4 female, possibly to start off with. It's pretty straightforward. One of the big things is there's some expenses that make this much easier that isn't comfortable for everybody. If you're breeding ball pythons, I can't recommend getting an ultrasound more. The ultrasound has made, like, we're going to, when we get back from visiting relatives, we're going to be doing an ultrasound video because I was tempted to do it today, but we got too much to do. I want to find out where Bobert, our newest clown girl, who's appropriately named.
I mean, the ultrasound informed us that one of the snakes we'd been pairing, because we assumed at breeding season she would be ready, we found she had no follicles. So there was no point in exhausting our male trying to copulate with a female who wasn't going to be able to produce anything.
Yep. It's how you tell when they're ready to breed and when they've got eggs, when they're getting ready to ovulate, which shed's going to be the ovulation shed or the prelay shed. Rats
are obviously an expense. If you're only going to have a breeding project of 5 animals, I don't think it would be wise to invest in breeding rats the way we do. It's hard to say exactly where the threshold is. We watched a video or 2 about this, of where you have so many animals that it makes more sense to breed. We're definitely over that threshold.
Yeah.
We have to breed to keep up with our needs, but I think probably at a small project like that, you could buy in bulk, like from like Rodent Pro. I think they have pretty good rates on frozen. I mean, it seems expensive, but when you actually break down the cost per rodent, it's cheaper than going to a lot of local pet stores. You could probably supply your whole thing on that on like $50 to $100 a month.
So yeah, while you may be able to get into ball pythons, there's others where you're gonna have to plan ahead. So the hognoses, none of our hognoses will be able to breed for like another year and a half, possibly 2 whole years. And we didn't want to buy breeders because you're buying, quite often the hognose market's so hot right now, you're buying somebody else's problem. We do have a breeding pair of albino African house snakes, and we have a couple other African house snakes that are not breeder ready right now, but they'll probably be breeder ready next year.
She finally shut out.
Who, Speedy?
Yep.
So,
I was going to show you guys Speedy when he started mentioning our hogs, but I can't find her. She's in here. She's just buried herself. There she is. Hello, Miss Thing. She's gotten so big.
Boop, boop, boop.
Look at this girl. Oh my god.
I mean,
it shocks me.
We should weigh her.
Yeah, we haven't weighed her in ages. She's a real sweet girl. She's gotten sassier lately, but she's one of the less sassy hognoses that we have.
I want you just to stay on. Can you stay on here long enough for me to weigh you? That says 58, but...
No, that's not right. She's just being finicky.
Maybe put a little tub. So yeah, she is an albino superconda who weighs...
Okay, I was wrong. She's 50.
Yep.
Thought she'd be more than that, but I guess she's gotten longer lately. That doesn't necessarily mean she's weighed more, but...
She's a little thicker.
She's hitting a growth spurt.
She's an albino superconda. And easily the friendliest of all of our hogs. Here you go.
Legolas is up against so all our colubrids are in clear tubs with a lot more enrichment. They need a little bit more than ball pythons. Not that ball pythons need nothing. Colubrids need more. One of ours is up to the front here. I think he wants to come out and say hello. Hi. Here, let me see if I can get him.
This is our lavender male.
Oh, don't be sassy with me. Stop
See,
it.
now you're more nervous around him than you were after one of them decided to bite you.
Yes, I am. That's true. Look at him. He's flaring right up at me.
Get you on camera. This is our lavender hognose. By the way, if you get bit by a hognose, go for the nose. Basically, if they latch on and they stay on,
Just like you're pulling a soda tab.
Just like you're lifting up on a soda tab right there on the nose, and that'll get them off.
The problem is we found out that when they try to pull off one end, they tend to push the other side of their mouth in deeper, so they have a really hard time letting go on their own. 30?
He's at 30.
He's a little bit smaller. That makes sense.
He's a very pretty guy.
He's such a sweet boy.
There you go.
He's just sassy. Yes, like most hogs, you're a drama queen, aren't you? Alright. Thank you for volunteering yourself to come out.
All right. Any last question before we go?
I always thought about breeding milk snakes. Yeah, I love milk snakes. They're beautiful. Would love to get into them eventually, but we are kind of maxed out on what we can do currently. I mean, we could add more ball pythons. That's not going to change much, but it'd be difficult.
We can add anything where the husbandry requirements are similar to the ball python. So like the womas are in here. Mm-hmm. The hogs, basically that other rack over there has different temperature settings. So it's set up for the hognose, the African house snakes. African house snakes are much closer to ball pythons in their temperature requirements, but we've got all that set up.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out for this egg cutting and more. It turned out to be an egg cutting plus stream.
Yeah.
But we've got some stuff to do. We got to get the house cleaned and get ready for Rat Day. So thank you all for hanging out with us, and we will see you guys next time.
I feel like I should be lip syncing to your goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.